Ruslan.
I gotta do part 2. Oh, you guys are gonna hate me for part 2 of reacting to this video with Sean McDowell and John Marriott, PhD. They did a study on deconversion in the church. They did the math, they ran the math, looked at the numbers, and they found out that for every one person that's coming to a saving faith in Jesus right now, there's 4 people that are leaving the church. And as they went down this rabbit hole, they found out that the number one reason, the thing that connects all of it, is fundamentalism, legalism, is taking non-essential doctrines, placing them in the place of essentials, taking things that are convictions, taking things that have been debated for thousands of years, placing them to the level of salvation, to the level of heaven or hell issues. And they're saying this is what it is. The vast majority of people that he's interviewed in this book have all came out and said, hey, you know what? The reason why I'm here is because I come from a very fundamentalist, like strict, hardcore background. The book is called The Autonomy of Deconversion. It's incredible. The interview is pinned below. You guys should go watch it. But I'm gonna dig a little deeper here that's going to upset some of you, and just buckle up. Just buckle up. I've never been afraid to ruffle a few feathers here, but I'm just pre-warning you, okay? Just buckle up. I'm gonna pick up in this interview, and this is where it's going to get uncomfortable, okay?
I think that all of those have to be secondary and tertiary doctrines that we're willing to say, look, these are important, and we think that as Christians we need to follow Jesus's word, and we need to study it and know it. But we also need to have an intellectual humility that says, but we're not exactly certain that we're completely right on our interpretation of these texts. Because
so we need to have a degree of intellectual humility. We need to take the word seriously, but we need to have a degree of intellectual humility and to say, hey, listen, we don't know if our interpretation of these texts is absolute and we have all the answers. By the way, if you're finding value from this video, do me a solid, give it a quick thumbs up. I would really appreciate that.
And so there is freedom there to think through and maybe to hold or reject some of these different views. But when it comes to these top tier non-negotiables.
Remember the essentials of the faith. These are things we don't debate. This is talking about 1 Corinthians 5. This is talking about the Nicene Creed, the Apostles' Creed. There's certain things they're just off the table. We're not going to debate these. But there's other things that are open-handed doctrines. He's going to get to one that's going to offend some of you, and I'm going to go even deeper with it and offend some more of you, and you're not going to like it.
Those are the ones that I think that we need to be able to say, hey, look, it's super important that you believe that God created the heavens and the earth and that human beings are created in the image and in the likeness of God.
Amen? 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 Amen. Now watch what he says next.
How he did that, you can be very persuaded that it's 6 days, or you can be persuaded that it's a long period of time, or it's something in between, and allow people that flexibility. Because without that flexibility, we build this very rigid and very fragile house of cards theology that says, if you don't believe X, then the entire Christian edifice crumbles, and someone says, I don't think I believe X anymore, for example, I think evolution is true, then that card gets pulled out, the whole house of faith collapses. And someone says, I don't think I believe X anymore, for example, I think evolution is true, then that card gets pulled out, the whole house of faith collapses.
When you build your house on the literal 6 days of creation, someone presents evidence that counters that, and they pull that card, boom, your whole house crumbles. Okay?
I didn't know where you were going when I got to the end of the book, but when I read you describing what you just described, to me it was like a breath of fresh air. My philosophy is let's find unity on the essentials and have as much charity as we can on secondary but important issues. So that
Woo! Okay. All right, so hopefully we're all following along. He says, hey, we got to have unity on the essentials. Sounds like something I've said 100 times on the channel. He says, and then all these other things we need to have charity on, okay? And he talks about specifically people going off to college and getting exposed to evolution, and then because you've been taught and held a fundamentalist, legalistic view of a literal 6 days of creation, boom, that card gets pulled, your entire faith collapses. Again, we're discussing why people deconvert. Now, I'm gonna, you guys aren't ready. Buckle up, and we're gonna draw a parallel. I gotta send another shout out to another fantastic channel, Southside Rabbi, my brother KB and Amin. Oh, buddy, they had Isaiah Thompson on. Oh no, Ruslan, you're going there. Yes. I got this. Is a fantastic. You should watch this episode. But listen to what Isaiah Thompson says and how he parallels this super controversial topic, how he parallels it to the very exact point that was just made. Listen. Oh, you guys are gonna hate me after this.
We create a big mess if we situate these dichotomies that either you are going to be a Christian or you are going to be a critical race theorist. Because what happens when you conflate critical race theory so much so that it's anti-Christian, so then all of a sudden you have someone who's learning about this, who has grown up in the faith, and then all of a sudden says, I think critical race theory makes sense, but apparently it's contradictory with Christianity. So now I have to drop my religion to carry this thing because no one bridged the gap. And we see this happen in North America all the time.
Say that.
With the discussion of evolution.
Say that.
You think Christians in Europe had this, Christians in Europe were saying, okay, how can we understand evolution? Should we be scared of it? How should we engage it? Right? And then here in America, it was keep it out of the schools.
I know it's awkward. Can you just feel that tension? Can you feel the tension? Oh, I could see the anti-racist. Oh, they're so angry and they're typing away in the chat. Oh, Ruslan, you're such a woke Marxist. Ah! Let's keep watching.
We don't want to engage it at all. And then guess what? Guess what happens?
In general.
Then all of a sudden you have these Christians who were maybe homeschooled, were sheltered from evolution.
You were homeschooled, right?
I was homeschooled.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you go to college. Not a Christian college. You go to a state school. And then all of a sudden, you have a professor who's a PhD, more brilliant than your parents, and they just describe what evolution is, and it makes sense to you, but all of a sudden, you think in your mind, evolution and Christianity cannot fit together. They're inconsistent, so now I need to drop my faith. We gave them no tools.
Wow.
No tools at all.
That's so good.
And so when we take critical race theory and we conflate it to this dichotomy, rather than seeing it as something that is so complex, diverse, that is changing, it's changing because humans are interacting with it.
Yes. Yeah.
Anytime a human takes a theory and does something with it, it is altered because it's being applied to that human being's perspective. Right? And so you're going to create a problem where there will be Christians. And if critical race theory is something that's being taught in schools, which by the way,
oh man,
if we are scared to teach lenses of interpretation,
what are we doing?
What if
we're in trouble? We're putting Christians in a bubble again. That's exactly what we want to do.
Like if we are not instructing our children how to apply different lenses to different things and interpret it for their sake, maintaining their autonomy. Lenses do not steal your autonomy. Right? You use them by way of your autonomy. You say, I want to understand this through this framework.
Right.
And so I myself am applying this because I see how this fits together. This is my stake in the argument, my stake in the game, right? If we're scared of a theory, I think we have bigger problems.
True.
But again, if we are just taking this and saying you can either be a Christian or you can be a critical race theorist, and there's no bridging conversation whatsoever, we're going to have big problems.
Brother, you hit that mug out the park. That thing is across the street, rolling down a hill.
Go watch the full, if you're struggling with this concept of CRT, go watch the full Southside Rabbi episode. As a matter of fact, everybody should go watch the full Southside Rabbi. That's family. That I've been on their channel. I was just on their channel. They've been on my channel. They'll be on my channel again. Shout out to Isaiah Thompson. This is an incredible conversation about this topic. I recommend you guys all watch it. They're doing a 3-part series on these very exact shenanigans that we're seeing. And by the way, have you noticed that it's the same talk? Hasn't it been the same talk by the vast majority of evangelicals on this topic? Right? Hasn't it been the same exact talk? And 20 years ago, it was evolution. And before that, it was whatever, right? It's the same thing. It's like we're rehashing the same thing. It's the same culture war. By the way, this is not an endorsement of everything that CRT teaches or nothing like that. It's saying, hey, if you now otherize people on the other, and you say, hey, you're either this or you're that, and then people find something that seems aligned with this, now they feel like they have to reject their entire Christianity, you're setting people up. You're setting people up to deconvert from the faith. And it's unfortunate and it's sad. It's sad. Okay? So, this is not me endorsing everything critical race theory says. This is not me saying I'm an apologist for critical race theory or anything like that. Okay? This is a theory, and it's a lens, and it's, by the way, it's wildly diverse. Just like, in Christianity, there's like 4,000 Baptist denominations. Yeah, there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of all types of different views on CRT, by the way. Yeah, and by the way, the vast majority of what people are calling CRT, the Robin DiAngelos, the white fragility, the meritocracy is white supremacy, Christianity is white supremacy, right? All that hogwash, nuclear family is white supremacy. The vast majority of that isn't even CRT. That's not even CRT. That's bad, poor, terrible, trash, anti-racist training. And Robin DiAngelo is a white liberal, by the way. Okay? And the vast majority of my brothers, KB, Amin, Sho Baraka, Lecrae, fill in the blank, Eric Mason, whoever, right? Chris Bouchard, didn't even know what critical race theory was until after it was used to weaponize as a pushback against the George Floyd uprising and the George Floyd protest. Herein lies the issue. Here is the fundamentalism, and it's happening right before our very eyes. And now you're either a Christian or you're a woke leftist Marxist liberal. If you say anything about justice, instead of saying, "Hey, let's have this conversation," let's have the uncomfortable conversation. Let's talk about it. No. You got to throw everything out, and anything related to saying justice, racism, white supremacy, completely thrown out, and it's all bad, and it's all out the window. And if you say anything like that, well, Ruslan, you're a Marxist, woke, snowflake, SJW, liberal, and you're not a Christian. They don't say you're not a Christian, but they more or less say that. They equate it to an essential doctrine. So now we're all over again, we're now more identified by what we're against. So, homework, go check out the Southside Rabbi, the full episode. Check out the full episode. And they're going to be doing a multi-part series. I'm on their Patreon team, so if you want to see part 2, sign up for their Patreon. And sign up for our Patreon as well if you want to get exclusive content and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully this is helpful. Let me know what y'all think.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you found it valuable, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. You can check out one of the other videos related to this that'll be over here. Now, I gotta tell you about a free training I have for anyone that is an entrepreneur, a creative, an artist, but maybe you are unsure on how to find your voice, how to find your niche. I have a free training in the description of this video. Check it out. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you on the next video.